What do you think are the basic values promoted by these Harry Potter novels?
Well, what a convenient question.
And I will say, before you answer this, I will say I highly recommend Ari's book. I mean, I think it's really fabulous. So for those of you who haven't gotten it, haven't read it, highly recommend it. Definitely recommend it for if you have teenage kids or nieces or nephews or whatnot who are fans of the book. It would be a great book to give to them.
And of course I named it Values of Harry Potter for the dual reason. I'm looking at the values of the books, but also I'm talking about the values of the character. But I thought that I would just read a bit from the book number 1, Sorcerer's Stone, Philosopher's Stone, to give you an idea of what I think is sort of at the core of the books. So this is when Harry is trying to talk his friends into going to capture the stone so that Voldemort doesn't get it. At this point, they wrongly think Snape is trying to get it. So I think we can unpack a lot in there of what's motivating Harry. He cares about his own life and safety, the safety of his friends and family around him, and perhaps more importantly, his ability to live in a world free from this tyrant who is going to oppress everyone, make everyone serve his whims, and, well, do what he actually tries to do later. Turn Hogwarts, either get rid of it, destroy it, or turn it into a school for the dark arts. So in other words, destroy everything that matters to him. And I think this is especially powerful given what we remember about his past with the Dursleys, where he's neglected and borderline abused, and he really doesn't have anything going for him or worth that he really loves in life. And so that's totally different when he gets to the magical world. So he has all these rich values now in the magical world, and he sees Voldemort threatening all of this, all that he's enjoying in life and all of his friends. And I think that's basically, it goes to the heart of what his motives and values are. And it's also, Sirius Black says something later on. He says, look, there are some things worth dying for. And I think that's saying something that's similar than what Harry's saying, right? Some of these values are so important that we even need to be willing to put our lives on the line to protect those things. Because without them, it's just not worth going on. In other words, we have to fight to protect them if we want to have anything worth living for to remain.
Yeah, I mean, and it's remarkable how clear-sighted Harry is about that, right? It's not like you can have Voldemort and Quidditch games, right? Like it's one or the other. And so all these things that we enjoy, all the things that you're telling me should matter as to reasons why I shouldn't go down that trapdoor, right? These things are not going to even be here. So
Right.
so it's my choice is let's say I even like worst case scenario, right? Let's say I fail. My choice is not between having those things or not. The question is, okay, so if I fail, I'm not having them at all, and the question is just then, is Voldemort coming to power or not? That's the only choice that faces me.
And I think it's maybe a little easier for Harry to have this longer vision because he did lose his parents.
Right.
And he's aware of that at this point. And he did have such a miserable life before this. So unlike Ron or Hermione, Hermione's life changed more, but their lives changed relatively little. Harry's life changed fundamentally. So I think he can imagine more what it's like to not have this world
Right.
that he loves and grew up in.
Yeah, Neville is another character who's clearly felt the consequences of
Right.
Voldemort in a
Yeah,
big
maybe
way.
maybe even more severely. And that's another one of the big themes is this idea that Dumbledore talks about, that your course is determined by the choices you make.
Right.
And of course that's a big role. And also the fact that this idea of independence, you're in charge of your own thoughts and actions and the course you set. So a couple of examples that I love is Harry telling off the minister in Half-Blood Prince.
Right.
That's, I think, still my favorite scene. When the minister comes and says, well, look, Harry, why don't you play along and pretend that we're being effective here? And Harry's like, no way, I see what you're doing. You're doing things inappropriately, like arresting people without cause,
Right.
and I'm not going to play ball here. And I think that's fantastic. And I also love when Hermione storms out of a divinations class because she's sick of the nonsense. But just this idea that you have to be independent-minded and self-created in an important way, I think is also important values-wise.